flashing lights. In the zone, no losing sight. Pedal down, it's a blur of speed. Every turn just what we need. Drifting close to that white line. Pushing boundaries, feeling fine. Duracell cup, we race through night. Hearts are pounding, fierce and bright. Speeding past the checkered flag. Victory on the line, we brag. Helmet on, the world fades out. Focus sharp among the shouts. From the start to finish line, through the chaos we all shine. Grip the wheel tight, knuckles white. Thrill of danger heightens might. Crowds electric, senses burn. In this circus shadows turn. Lap by lap we chase the dream. Rivals' eyes flash in the beam. Sweat and tears we fight as one. In the end we rise like sun. We race through night, hearts are pounding, fierce and bright. Speeding past the checkered flag, victory on the line, we brag. Helmet on, the world fades out. Focus sharp among the shouts. From the start to finish line, through the chaos we all shine. Grip the wheel tight, knuckles white. Thrill of danger heightens might. Crowds electric, senses burn. In this circus shadows turn. Lap by lap we chase the dream. Rivals' eyes flash in the beam. Sweat and tears we fight as one. In the end we rise like sun. Sun, like sun. We rise like sun. We rise like sun. Engine roar, crowd goes wild. Fuel's on fire, adrenaline piled. Nights alive with flashing lights. In the zone, no losing sight. Pedal down, it's a blur of speed. Every turn just what we need. Drifting close to that white line. Pushing boundaries, feeling fine. Duracell cup, we race through night. Hearts are pounding, fierce and bright. Speeding past the checkered flag. Victory on the line, we brag. Helmet on, the world fades out. Focus sharp among the shouts. From the start to finish line, through the chaos we all shine. Grip the wheel tight, knuckles white. Thrill of danger heightens might. Crowds electric, senses burn. In this circus shadows turn. Lap by lap we chase the dream. Rivals' eyes flash in the beam. Sweat and tears we fight as one. In the end we rise like sun. We race through night, hearts are pounding, fierce and bright. Speeding past the checkered flag, victory on the line, we brag. Helmet on, the world fades out. Focus sharp among the shouts. From the start to finish line, through the chaos we all shine. Grip the wheel tight, knuckles white. Thrill of
Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here as we get ready to cap off All-Star Race Weekend, the midway portion of the first half of the regular season. After this All-Star Race, we get right back to it. We enter into the portion of the season dubbed the push towards the playoffs, but it's the opportunity here for drivers to go out there, have some fun, have some bragging rights as well. No points on the line, no playoff position on the line, and an opportunity as well to lock yourself into next year's All-Star Race if you don't get another victory between now and Season 9's mid-portion of the regular season. So we'll see what translates here. If you didn't tune in yesterday, we ended up having the All-Star Open. 3 drivers transferred their way in. They'll be starting towards the rear of the field in this 21-car starting lineup. But the racing was actually really, really good. Granted, we had some moving chicanes with some damaged race cars since we didn't see an entire yellow that race, but we did have drivers that were involved in incidents and had damage for a majority of the run. We'll see if the same's going to be seen here today or if we'll get our first caution of the weekend. But before we ended up having the field get spread out with those slower cars kind of hindering them and breaking the field up, we had some really, really good pack racing. We had on occasion 2 and 3 rows of 3 wide from the front of the field to the back. Really hard racing, multi-groove, a lot of lead changes as well in the early going. Nobody really seemed to be able to hold on to the race lead. So we ended up debuting Atlanta Superspeedway as the All-Star Race venue last season. It did really well. It did look really well in yesterday's All-Star Open, so hoping for another good translation here today with the All-Star Race. I mentioned 21 drivers in the field here this afternoon. 18 drivers got in on the criteria that they needed to be the defending All-Star Race winner or have a victory between last year's All-Star Race and this season's All-Star Race. And of course, we had 3 drivers transfer in through the Open yesterday. Anthony McCurry taking the win, Ryan Brommer finishing second, Cole Deaver finishing third. So they will make up 19th, 20th, and 21st on the grid for this one. Going to be 65 laps of racing, so a little bit longer than the All-Star Open was yesterday. Pit road, again, should not come into play. It didn't yesterday in the Open. It shouldn't here today in the All-Star Race. And we've got a mixed bag of drivers all the way through the field with different criteria in winning. Some drivers winning last season, other drivers winning this season, and then there's a few drivers that actually have won both last season and this season. So we'll be highlighting them and the ways that they were able to make their way into the All-Star Race during the course of today's event. Your front row is going to be all blue ovals. It was there was no qualifying session. It was all done via random draw. RJ Bishop drawing the long straw as his Kroger Kraft Mac and Cheese Dark Horse Mustang for Young Motorsports will be leading us to green. RJ locking himself in through a victory last year at Boston International. Alongside of him, Nathan Ormond, who is one of the drivers that has a win from last season and this season that locked him in. Nathan Ormond out of the Michael Norman Motorsports stables, a win at Watkins Glen last season. This season, winning very early on at Manassas. Again, we'll be highlighting all the rest of the drivers and how they made their way into this all-star race, but I think it's time to go racing, don't you? Let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports, and get this thing going.
Drivers, start your engines!
Pace Truck's going to lead the 21 cars off of pit road. You will see the starting lineup on the bottom right of your screen. You see those last transferees there at the rear of the field heading on out. And we'll get ready here this afternoon for some speedway / super speedway racing at the Atlanta Super Speedway. Only way that we'll run this racetrack on a schedule is if it's a non-points event. We will be at the older configuration, the older track surface of Atlanta, down this home stretch of the regular season, closing in a little bit closer towards the playoffs beginning. Getting ready to go green as RJ Bishop in the GT 500. Gonna bring us around here. Track position, if anything to go by, not gonna be all that important. You can work your way from the middle of the pack, rear of the field, up to the front. We had 29 drivers in the open yesterday, little less today with 21 starters. As here we go, the Season 8 Duracell Next Gen Cup Series All-Star Race is green at Atlanta. And Jesse Turner wastes no time. Turner to the inside, looking for the race lead off of turn 2. Jesse Turner locking himself in through a victory last season at Chicago Motor Speedway. And he's going to lead the first lap of this all-star race, but he'll have a challenge when they get to turn 1 because here comes the defending Rookie of the Year, Casey Hoyt. These two were teammates last season out of Lake Effect Autosport. Casey Hoyt now moving over to Northeast Motorsports. 3-time winner last season in his rookie year was Casey Hoyt. His win at Suzuka is what locks him into this All-Star race. The other 2 wins took place before last year's All-Star race. As now here comes Nick Gunther to the inside. We saw Anthony McCreary, a very dominant car in the All-Star Open in a Mazda out of Garage 55 yesterday. Now Nick Gunther's Mazda out in front here in this All-Star race. Nick Gunther locking himself in with a couple of victories last year at Auto Club and Rockingham. And here comes the defending All-Star race winner, Dylan Poteet. Won this event 1 season ago when the All-Star race debuted here at the Atlanta Super Speedway. Poteet also locked into this event through a win last year at Hanford Speedway. But now he's under fire from a fellow Camry. That's Matt Haas. Keep an eye on this guy because he's won 2 races so far this season, and both of them been at super speedways. Winning the season opener at Daytona and following it up at Dragonette. Another super speedway here. Can he go 3 for 3 at super speedways here in Season 8? S3 Motorsports charges to the front. Cole Deaver, who transferred in the final transfer spot yesterday, finishing 3rd in the All-Star Open. And his teammate, the defending champion, Jessica Shelton, now looking to his inside. Jess with a couple of wins last year after the All-Star break at M&M Super Speedway and Michigan. As now side by side with her and Connor Breton, who went to Victory Lane a couple of weeks ago in one of the Crown Jewel races at Darlington. Breton also had 2 wins last season that locked him into this event, winning at both Charlotte, another Crown Jewel race, and Kentucky. Driver that's got the most momentum, though, heading in this All-Star break. 3-time winner here in Season 8, former champion Carson Gum. And it is those 3 victories that have locked him into this All-Star race. Las Vegas, I-69 Speedway, and most recently, the last points-paying race last week at Chicagoland Speedway. As Ryan Brommer now will move to the point. Again, like I said, nobody really being able to hang on to the race lead. A lot of swapping back and forth. Ryan Brommer finishing 2nd in the All-Star Open yesterday to lock himself into the event this afternoon. As Ford's line up on the bottom, that's Destin Bolin, who's going to lead a lap in the Maxwell House Dark Horse Mustang out of Young Motorsports. Destin locking himself in through a couple of victories this season at Pocono and Texas. And our Sonoma winner from this season, Daniel Voiles, will now move to the front in the Oreo number 26 out of World NOS Racing. Nick Gunther going to make his way on by once again, trying to move back to the front. James Qualls, who lost the points lead last week at Chicagoland, but has been very consistent this season. Has a victory at Indianapolis, was a 3-time winner last year. As a matter of fact, ended up winning 3 races in 4 weeks, including back-to-back weeks. That was just after the All-Star race break when he was on that tear, and it is those 3 victories from last season plus his victory this season that lock him into this All-Star race. Indianapolis this season. Last season it was Dover, Iowa, and New Hampshire. Dover and Iowa were the back-to-back races that he won. His teammate Joshua Osborne now out in front. Osborne, the second Joanne Atwood Motorsports car locked into this All-Star race. He was a winner last year at Hillside. Just look at him, 3 wide, 3 rows deep behind Nathan Ormond, who started on the outside of the front row, now charging his way back up to the front of the field. You see Levi McIntyre up there on that top side, the Nutella number 99. What an incredible season he's had. He's the highest driving driver in the point standings without a victory so far here in Season 8. Last year, went to victory lane twice. His win at Arizona, though, during the second half of the regular season. Actually, no, I think it was actually during the playoffs, if I recall correctly, is what locked him into this All-Star race as drag race to the line. Devers Chevy against the Ford of Jesse Turner and the Toyota of Matt Haas. Looking a little further back there, you can see the green and yellow 01 of Jack Mitchell on that inside line. 3rd car on the inside line. Jack Mitchell with a win earlier on this season at Phoenix. Another driver who's running very, very well in the point standings. Looking like a contender to be in the playoffs this season for the championship. And in that middle line, you see the black and red GameStop Ford. That is rookie Eric Sadler, who is actually the only rookie in this All-Star race. The only one to lock himself in, and that was through a victory earlier on this season at North Wilkesboro. All the other rookies failed to qualify in the All-Star Open, and 3 veterans ended up making their way in, transferring through the Open with McCrory, Brommer, and Devers. So only driver with the rookie stripes here in this field is that number 12 car. We'll see what he's going to be able to do this afternoon. Eric Sadler, remember, we talked about this at the beginning of the season. We knew him previously here on the channel. Took part back in the Skittles Super Speedway Series. So a Super Speedway here for the All-Star race might be just what he needs to make a statement. As here comes Anthony McCrory to the inside of Dylan Poteet, the All-Star Open winner from this season against the All-Star race winner from last season. And Anthony's going to go to the point. Anthony led 18 of the 49 laps in yesterday's All-Star Open. And he has led 1 lap so far today. Jessica Shelton going to keep it that way, at least for the time being. Looking back to see if there's any drivers we haven't highlighted yet in their criteria to get into this All-Star race. I believe there's only 1 other driver we haven't highlighted. And I'm looking back to see where he's currently at. He's just riding at the back of the pack right now, and that's that Pizza Hut Ford. Saw him at the very tail end of the field. That's Michael Norman. Michael locking himself in through a victory last season at the road course of Chatham. But Michael is one of, I believe, 2? Yes, one of 2 Michael Norman Motorsports entries in this field, Nathan Norman being the other. Well, Anthony McCrory won the All-Star Open here yesterday, and this is the portion of the season that we kind of call the evaluation portion of the season. There's no points, no playoff spot on the line here for these drivers. They're just out there having fun and going 4 wide. Oh my goodness. Car in the wall, Daniel Voiles. Everyone's going to avoid. No, Qualls is going to get spot. He saved it. Qualls was getting turned by Cole Deaver, and he somehow saved it, and we're still almost 4 wide. And we're still green. How in the heck did Qualls keep that thing turned the right direction? He was 45 degrees the wrong way. And somehow, we're still going. After Voiles is in the wall, and Qualls is nearly wrecked, we're still green, but that just split the field up a ton too. Joshua Osborne now going to be the race leader. That was almost shades of what happened in the All-Star Open here yesterday when a car got up into the wall, stacked up the field, led to a wreck that didn't bring out a caution. Now the field is spread out. I don't know how damaged that 70 is going to be or the 26. But with the field spread out, we'll have to see if now those stragglers are going to be able to catch back up and make one big pack. We've only got 7 drivers in this lead group right now, then about another 5 or 6 back in the second pack. It all depends on which group makes a little bit more speed, and especially that second group if they can get up in the slipstream in the draft of pack number 1. Nick Gunther now going to show the way. There's no bonus points for laps led. There's no bonus points for most laps led. I mean, we can give you those statistics, but with no points payout, it really doesn't matter. What matters is leading the last lap of this race. And we'll keep track of those other drivers involved. I believe Qualls does have damage, because he is very much so off the pace. Yeah, there appears to be damage on the left front of that machine. He's only carrying about 165 top speed by himself. These leaders are cresting up to almost 200 miles per hour going into the corner. And we saw yesterday, we had about 3 or 4 drivers that were off the pace, involved in incidents that didn't bring out a yellow. So with the long green flag run, the drivers out there kind of putt-putting around became moving chicanes for the up-to-speed drivers, especially when they were in a pack like this, double wide, 3 wide. There was always that one lane that when they would catch that slower car, they would pay the price and it would split the field up even more. But we have kind of gotten a bigger pack again. Jack Mitchell, Connor Breton, and others, they were able to reel in this lead group. They brought into this mix Matt Haas, Dustin Bolin. I believe Michael Norman is also latched on to this group. RJ Bishop might also be in this pack now as well via the draft. So we are starting to get some of that group that got broken off from the lead pack back merged up here into one big pack. Nathan Orman still back there hoping he can catch up. I'm not certain about some of the drivers back in the other pack, including Dylan Poteet, Anthony McCrory, Daniel Voiles. They spent a good portion of time woeing up, waiting for James Qualls to gather his machine back up, and now they might be in trouble. Carson Gum and Jessica Shelton there as well, also Cole Deaver. They're going to be hoping for a yellow flag to come out to be able to have a shot at catching back up, and they have reeled in that 70 of James Qualls I was talking about. You see how it broke the field up once again. Only 5, potentially 6 drivers were able to get through with their momentum unobstructed. And there you see Joshua Osborne's actually the one getting held up by his teammate there. That's going to drop him all the way back to about 14th place. Here comes Anthony McCurry and Dylan Poteet. This is exactly what they needed, along with Daniel Voiles. If that lead group gets held up more or split up more, those 3 or 4 might have a shot of getting back up into this lead pack. But I believe the only car right now that is currently off the pace is Qualls. We had about 4 drivers that were off the pace, constantly being encountered by the leaders in the Open yesterday. Comes Jack Mitchell to the inside, and I was going to mention this, I was talking about this before we had that whole plethora take place through 1 and 2, but this is a period of evaluation for teams that not only are doing well and are trying to keep the consistency up, but also hoping for a turnaround season. Drivers that are struggling this year, whether it be in the point standings, whether it be in terms of just consistency. There's a number of drivers here in the field that are running very well in points. They are very much in playoff conversation, but there are other drivers that are not. You look at Jesse Turner in this pack, Michael Norman. Actually, Michael, I believe, last week moved up into a potential playoff spot, but Jesse Turner, who's numerous seasons battled for the championship. It's been a down season so far for the 47. I look through this field at other drivers that are struggling, like Nathan Ormond. Yes, he's got a victory, but he's trying to keep himself in the top 30 in points. Same deal for Daniel Voiles in the 26. Dylan Poteet, he's got that runner-up finish. I think it was a runner finish or a top 5 finish nonetheless at Darlington that's helping him to climb through the point stands. But it's been a down year for the multi-time winner from last season, who was a Final Four contender for the championship. Anthony McCrory's had a really tough year. Casey Hoyt coming off his rookie season with 3 wins. It's been a bit of a struggling adjustment over to his new organization at Northeast Motorsports. And of course, Jessica Shelton, we've talked a lot about her being the defending champion. Right now, the second lowest driver in the point standings of the full-time chartered machines. So there's a lot of drivers that really want to get this season turned around. And on the flip side, there's a bunch of drivers that want to just keep the consistency going. I mean, Mitchell you're looking at here, Matt Haas, Connor Breton, Dustin Bowen. They're all in playoff conversation right now, whether it be top 10 in points or wild card spots. 6 drivers in this lead pack. Looks like about another 6 drivers in this second pack, and they are not that far back. They're only about 2.5 seconds back. And then you've got a group of 4 who I think they might actually catch up to this group of 6. So you'd have 10 drivers in this pack. Again, 6 drivers in the other pack. Oh, and they're all catching James Qualls again. This lead pack that's going to help pack number 2. Oh, and Qualls is going down to the inside line. That's going to hold up these guys a lot more. Haas is going to go around the outside. Hopefully Qualls goes up, and he's not going to. Oh, this is not going to be good. He's just wadding them all up on the front straightaway. Oh, contact! Oh, up into the air goes Ryan Brummer, and RJ Bishop's upside down. Caution's going to wave for the first time this weekend. As RJ Bishop on his roof. Oh, comes back down the track and got clipped, I think, by Jessica Shelton. But the pole sitter will end up on his lid as the caution comes out, just crossing the halfway point. And the pace car didn't care. He just ran right through RJ. But caution waves, first time this afternoon. And that was them just all wadded up behind the slower machine of James Qualls. RJ Bishop and Ryan Brommer getting together. The 87 popped up into the air. The 98 went up and over and never came back down on all 4 wheels, and that's going to bring out the yellow. Pit road will be open. I don't think anybody will come to pit lane. Don't need to on fuel, and there may be some tire wear, but I don't think there's enough tire wear that it's going to have drivers want to give up track positions. So Jesse Turner is going to be the leader here more than likely. When we go back green, we'll take a look at a replay of what brought out this yellow flag. We kind of caught it as it was happening, but our camera was not focused on it exactly. Let's take a look. RJ Bishop tries going up to the outside, and as he does so, oh, I think there actually might have been contact between him and his teammate Eric Sadler that forced RJ Bishop up the track. Brommer was to his right rear, and watch right here. Yeah, Jessica Shelton does clip. Looked like maybe just that left rear wing of RJ Bishop. See if we can get another camera shot here, because I do believe they might have actually for a brief moment been 4 wide, and I believe it's the 12 of Eric Sadler that forces RJ Bishop up a little bit here. Watch right there. Oh, actually, no. It was Anthony McCrory who went down very low on the racetrack. He actually forced the 12 up into the 98. So they were 4 wide, running out of room, but it was the 61 who initiated the contact, sending Sadler into Bishop and subsequently up into Ryan Brommer. Watch this again. Watch the red 61 of Anthony McCrory. As he dives it low, he's going to get into Eric Sadler, sends him up into Bishop. Levi McIntyre took a hit into the outside wall right there as well with his right front. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Don't know how significant a bit of contact that will be. And also that contact there for Jessica Shelton I believe that was either her right front or the right side door scraping, just barely scraping against RJ Bishop as he was sliding back down the racetrack. But a violent impact there for RJ Bishop. And needless to say, he has taken his car back to the garage area. Ryan Brommer, Levi McIntyre, any other drivers that got involved, it looks like they are going to continue. They're still scoring the 99 and the 87 on the lead lap. I'm looking right now, actually, Levi McIntyre never came to pit road. Jessica Shelton did, though, as well as Ryan Brommer, but they returned to the track and they will restart on the lead lap in 18th and 19th. Bishop's out of the race. James Qualls is still going to be a bit of a hindrance here as he's 2 laps down, and he will be on the inside line for this upcoming restart as well. The one good thing is, depending on how bad the damage is for Qualls, if it was repairable, he's able to come down pit road now. They can repair that race car, and he may actually be up to speed for the remainder of this race. It will be a single file restart on the top line, though, so it'll be interesting to see who will be brave enough to jump down to the inside there, hoping that the 70 is indeed up to speed. Who knows? James could actually maybe move his way past Jesse Turner, catch a quick yellow, and be only 1 lap down. I don't know if he'll be able to garner enough cautions to get back on the lead lap, but could certainly be the X factor in all of this. His lights are out atop the pace truck, and the way they will restart will be with Jesse Turner out in front, Connor Breton in second. Third will be Michael Norman. Nathan Ormond, his teammate, will line up in fourth with Matt Haas in fifth. Jack Mitchell will be sixth. Seventh, Nick Gunther. Destin Bolin eighth. Then Anthony McCurry and Dylan Poteet going to be in ninth and 10th. That caution helped out a bunch of drivers that were straggling at the back of the pack, had gotten all held up by James Qualls. You look back there at Carson Gum, Cole Deaver, McCrory, Poteet, a bunch of them had lost the lead pack, and this caution puts them right back up into the conversation. So Jesse Turner trying to find his first checkered flag of Season 8, albeit a non-points checkered flag, but it's a win nonetheless to lock himself into the Season 9 All-Star race, getting ready to put us back under green. More than halfway home in this All-Star race. We'll call this the home stretch to the checkered flag. That's into the restart zone. Turner will crawl, and up through the gears he goes. Back green here at Atlanta. I think that tells us all we need to know. The 70 is going to be down on power, down on speed. They are splitting him into the middle 3 wide through 1 and 2, or they tried to. Anthony McCurry attempted it, was unsuccessful. Three Fords, a Chevy, a Toyota. Right now your top 5. Nathan Ormond on the move on the inside line. Got by his teammate Michael Norman. Now goes to work on Connor Breton for second. He'll have drafting help from Matt Haas, the endurance karting Toyota Camry XSE. And here comes Jack Mitchell as well in the 0-1. Ormond now tucks up behind his fellow Blue Oval. Opens up the door down low. Matt Haas going to lead that charge with Mitchell. Nick Gunther there as well. Turner trying to block both lanes here down the D-shaped crooked front straightaway. And he'll stack them up now 3 wide for the 4th position. Gunther on the bottom, Mitchell in the middle. Now Ormond up on the top side. And big run through 3 and 4. Matt Haas looking for the lead. He'll get the lap led, but he will have a car to his inside. 3 wide in the middle now, with Mitchell on the bottom. Turner way up top. Matt Haas stuck in the sucker hole. Turner almost brushing the wall there on the top side of 1 and 2. But keeps it together. A couple of drivers that were slowed up a little bit on that restart by James Qualls, catching back up here. Poteet, McCurry, Gum, Voiles, Sadler amongst them. As now Destin Bolin looks to the inside of Jack Mitchell. We'll take a listen to what it's like making your way around this racetrack at over 200 miles per hour. 201, the top speed for Anthony McCurry that time going into turn 3. Let's go on board with the Panda Express Mazda out of Garage 55. How about that move from Dylan Pote as we saw on board with McCurry following the tire tracks of the 31. As soon as Pote got to the lead, McCurry says, "Thank you very much for getting me up here. I'm going to take over the top spot." And that's exactly what he's done. Now out in clean air, stacks him up double wide for second behind him with Turner and Breton. Anthony trying to do exactly what he did in the All-Star Open yesterday. When he got out in front, very few drivers were able to challenge him for the race lead. Not the case here, though. Jesse Turner, who's led the most laps so far here this afternoon, albeit he led under that caution period, but he is now back out to the point, and he's about to be 3 wide going into turn 1. Carson Gum looks to the inside, but that's now the middle. Jack Mitchell all the way to the bottom. He'll look for the top spot off of turn number 2. Looks like 9 drivers up in this lead pack. Correction, 11 drivers up in this lead group. As almost 3 wide back there again with Turner. I believe that was Ormond and McCurry. Got a few drivers that have lost touch with this pack. Joshua Osborne, Daniel Voiles, and Eric Sadler. Casey Hoyt's a long ways back. Cole Deaver and Levi McIntyre a long ways back. And Jessica Shelton, Ryan Brommer are damaged and off the pace after getting collected up in our only caution to this point that took RJ Bishop out of the race. James Qualls 2 laps down in the 70 car, and he may be encountered here very shortly by the race leaders. He is just now coming out of turn number 2. Leaders were just making their way through the center of 1 and 2. They're going to catch him in the next 2 laps, maybe in the next lap. So now they got to get themselves positioned. Which lane do they want to be in? Which lane is Qualls going to stick with? Forcing them to do the opposite. Ormond going to go up to the top line. Poteet will stay to the bottom. I think they're going to catch him right here, maybe on the back straightaway. Maybe they can get him all the way up to the wall and take him 3 wide. Let's see. Ormond's going to shoot for the middle. Everybody else is going to follow him. They're all going to get by him pretty easily. That was the best area for them to catch that 70 car. Pote pushes up a little bit there through the middle of 3 and 4. That opened up the door down low. Connor Breton will now go to the point. These rear wings on the back of the cars allow for extra downforce. The extra downforce, though, means more speed carried into the corners. More speed into the corners means more tire heat in your Goodyears, which means that your grip is going to go away the more you grind them going up the banking here. You see these cars not able to hold it right down on the inside line to the entry. They slide from the inside up to the middle groove. Whoever is able to keep it in the throttle, keep the momentum better through the center, is going to end up making passes. You saw right there, McCurry was able to do just that. Let's see about here this time through 3 and 4. Carson Gum's actually going to try the shorter way, which is going to make the car a little bit tighter on entry. Can he keep the momentum up on that inside line? McCurry pushes way up, almost out of the groove there to the 3rd lane. And Carson Gum going to clear on by and take the top position. Carson with 3 wins on the year. Last driver to have 3 victories in a single season. There were actually 2 of them last year, James Qualls and Connor Breton. Carson's the only one so far here in Season 8, and he'd love to add an All-Star Race win to his resume here in what's already been a career year for him. Granted, he's won a championship, but he's not had nearly as dominating a season as he's having right now. And 3 wide. Ormond with Matt Haas to his inside. Dylan Poteet forcing the issue on the bottom in that Cheetos Mountain Dew Toyota Camry. Closing in on 10 laps to go, and still we have 11 drivers up in this lead pack. There's one driver I think we really need to keep an eye on. That's Michael Norman. The last time we saw him up at the front was when we were on board with Anthony McCurry, and Michael got put in the middle 3 wide, drifted to the back. But beginning of this race, when they were all in one big pack, Michael was just kind of hanging out back. Now in this smaller pack, he's just kind of hanging out back at the rear of this group. So I feel like he's kind of keeping his hand close to the chest. He's not showing what he's got just yet. Keep an eye on that Pizza Hut Ford Mustang. He's been pretty consistent here. Second half of the beginning of this regular season. Currently up in a playoff position as they're about to catch some more traffic. That is Ryan Brommer and Jessica Shelton. Damaged and off the pace. This time they're not encountering just one car, they're encountering 2, and they're going to be 3 wide while doing so. This is not going to end well for somebody. Oh, we've already had a caution with drivers getting stacked up behind slower cars. Hopefully they can get through this one. Carson Gumb's going to make his way to the front, getting by both Brommer and Shelton. Norman bided his time. He'll move into second. Nick Gunther, who was also kind of hanging out at the tail end of that pack, he'll move to third, with Ormond into fourth and McCurry into fifth. Lead pack's going to get broken up quite a bit because of this. And I believe they're going to have about another 7 or so laps before they're going to encounter more traffic in the form of Cole Deaver and Levi McIntyre. So this is not over yet in terms of traffic control. Jesse Turner, the biggest loser out of all that. He's going to drop the tail end of this pack, which I believe is going to be able to accordion back up again here into the, 11 cars that we had. If they continue to race like they are right now at the front, definitely those other drivers will catch back up. Anthony now to the inside of Carson. These two were teammates last year. We talked about the battle between Hoyt and Turner. Anthony fielded a Mazda out of Fortnite Squad Racing last season before the Mazda contingency branched off into their own group at Garage 55. And now Dylan Poteet, another former teammate to Anthony McCurry, will look to the inside line. You've actually got the 4 Fortnite Squad teammates from Season 7 all up here with Gunther, McCurry, Poteet, and Gum. If you're looking in terms of teammates too, we've got a lot that can work together here in the closing stages if a teammate is necessary to win. 2 Garage 55 Mazdas, 2 Fortnite Squad Racing Toyotas, 2 Michael Norman Motorsports Fords, all up here in this lead pack. Next time by will be 5 laps to go. Gunther with the lead, not for long. Here comes Mitchell now to the bottom. It's all going to come down to timing as well. Ooh, and they're also going to have the slower car of Qualls here. Can they all put him up to the third lane again? Yes, they can. Whoa, there was near contact between Michael Norman and James Qualls. Slowed up the 22 for a brief moment, but I think he should be able to keep in touch with the lead group. As here comes Orman to the inside, and we are now at 5 laps remaining. Again, it's going to come down to timing here. Which position do you want to be in at 3 to go, at 2 to go, at the white flag lap if you're on that inside line moving forward? We've seen this kind of timing thing all the time at tracks like Daytona, at Talladega. Where do you want to be near the end of this race to make sure you're going to be up at the front when the checkered flag is waving? As now Breeton's going to lead that lap. Here comes Carson Gum to the inside. And yeah, it does look like those drivers that got held up for a brief moment behind Qualls are still up in this lead pack. McCurry still is in the draft. Michael Norman still in the draft as well. I think Turner had also gotten held up for a brief moment. You see he's on the inside line. So we're still up here with 11 cars in the hunt for this victory. And Destin Bolin now will go to the point. Not for long. Opens up the door. Here comes Dylan Poteet to the bottom. 3 laps to go in this all-star race. Who's going to lock themselves into next year's All-Star race? Who's going to carry some good momentum into the second half of this regular season. Next week, we go to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Doubleheader with the Lights and Cup cars. Longest race of the season for the Cup Series drivers, and the final Crown Jewel race of the season. 2 to go. Turner has found his way back up to the front after leading the most laps today. McCrory way down on the bottom. He'll take it 3 wide, put Matt Haas in the middle, and Turner up on the top side. Look back at Mitchell, look back at Carson Gum, Connor Breton. I love where they're positioned right now. They could be in the right spot at the right time when we come around to the checkers. McCrory trying to pin down Jack Mitchell. Mitchell says nothing doing. He will force his way to the inside as the white flag is displayed. McCrory versus Mitchell. Carson Gum looking on in third. Haas is going to clear down to 4th place in front of Breton. Not quite. Traffic up ahead with Deaver and McIntyre. Will they play a factor through 3 and 4? Here comes Carson Gum to the inside of Mitchell. Who's going to get the run off the corner? Drag race to the line. Photo finish. It's going to be, I think, Mitchell. I think it's Mitchell. But we're waiting for official scoring. It is Jack Mitchell. 0.02 of a second. He's going to win the All-Star race in Season 8. Photo finish here at the Atlanta Super Speedway for the All-Star race in the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. And Jack Mitchell is going to get it done by literally inches here this afternoon. Carson Gum had a great run there out of the corner. It was tough to see where McCrory's alliance was going to be, the bottom or the top. He almost kind of gave draft to both for a moment there down the front stretch. But maybe he stayed a little higher up, and that might have been just enough to propel Mitchell, his splitter, just ahead of Carson Gum coming to the stripe. We got to go back and we got to take a look at that. We got to take a look at that replay and get a freeze frame of just how close that was. Unbelievable finish here in this All-Star race. Let's go back and let's see if we can get a good enough camera angle to be able to see exactly what happens here. Here we go. We're coming out of turn 4. Down the front straightaway. Maybe a little bit of draft off the slower cars for Mitchell. Who knows? But watch this here as they come to the stripe. I thought for a moment that Carson Gum got him. But you can clearly see just barely ahead is the Altitude Graphics Chevrolet Camaro out of Adrenaline Motorsports. See if we can get the aerial shot here. You can see it visibly there. It was hard from the angle when they crossed the line live to tell, but you can definitely see just ahead Jack Mitchell in the 0-1. That's the shot we had when they crossed the stripe live. At that angle, it's really tough to tell, but this one definitely is an indicator that Jack Mitchell was the winner of this race. Unbelievable finish to this one here. Again, this is why we have it on the schedule as an all-star race venue. We won't have it as a points-paying venue. I've got a personal gripe with I feel that the older Atlanta is better. And that's why that's a track that's playing a pivotal point into who's going to advance into a playoff position. But man, when it comes down to a non-points all-star race and we get a photo finish like that, incredible. So glad we chose to have this track as the all-star race venue instead of being at Charlotte for 2 straight weeks. Gives a little bit of verity, and man, can't beat a finish like that. Congratulations to Jack Mitchell on the victory. Carson Gum going to bring it home in a very close second. Anthony McCrory, what an all-star race weekend he's had. Won the All-Star Open yesterday. Podium here today in the all-star race. Maybe this is the turnaround point for what's been a struggling start to the year for him. Connor Breton will bring it home in 4th. Dylan Pote, the defending winner of this race, brings it home with a top 5 in 5th. Then Matt Haas, Jesse Turner, Nick Gunther, Michael Norman, Dustin Bolin. That was your top 10. Nathan Norman was the last driver to finish in the lead pack. Joshua Osborne, Daniel Voiles, Eric Sadler. These drivers all lost the lead group after getting held up behind slower traffic. Casey Hoyt, same for him, same for Cole Deaver. Levi McIntyre, I believe, was dealing with some damage there, caught up in our only caution of the day. Jessica Shelton, Ryan Brommer also were caught up in that wreck, and they finished a lap down. James Qualls, he was involved in that wreck/save on the back straightaway, but he had damaged goods for most of this event, finishes 4 laps down in 20th. And RJ Bishop, who went up and over on his roof in our only caution of the afternoon, the only driver who did not reach the conclusion, finishing in the 21st position. Bad news, wrecked race car. Good news, non-points event, so it's not going to penalize any of these drivers that end up having a bad day here this afternoon. The work begins next week, though, at Charlotte. Points are back on the line, and we are on our push towards the playoffs. Last opportunity for drivers to get themselves consistency, to get up in the top 10 in points, get the race wins to get themselves into wildcard conversations, of course, as well. Those all-important 15 bonus points for regular season champion is on the line. Could be a lot of storylines. They'll be fun to follow beginning next week at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Congratulations to Jack Mitchell on the victory here this afternoon. If you guys enjoyed today's All-Star race, be sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to Part of Crew today. We showed you full finish results. There's no points, so we won't show any point standings. And next week, we're back at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Doubleheader. We'll have the Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers on Saturday, Cup Series drivers on Sunday, their longest race of the season, the final crown jewel race of Season 8, the Coca-Cola 600. Until then, though, thanks everybody for tuning in to our All-Star Race weekend. And until next week, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, Offline Racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.